100 miles per hour were some of the strongest for years, bringing down trees and causing widespread destruction.
Here in Scotland, an 84-year-old man has died. We'll have the latest.
And we're getting reports of a death in Northern Ireland, also connected to the storm. Also in the programme this time. A new NHS campaign to get more children vaccinated against measles amid an alarming rise in cases of the disease. Ukraine's armchair warriors waging war from the living room with drones. We'll have a special report.
And the Chief Medical Officer advised staff
wreaked havoc across large parts of the UK. With gusts up to 100 miles an hour last night, the storm has left tens of thousands of homes without power, especially in Northern Ireland and in Scotland. At least 2 people are feared to have died after the storm, including an 84-year-old man who was a passenger in a car hit by a fallen tree in Grangemouth. Well, there's been widespread disruption to flights and rail services, although most are now getting back to normal. Storm Isha moves away from the UK. In a moment, we'll be live with our Scotland correspondent Alexandra Mackenzie. First, this report from Chris Page in Belfast.
Storm Isha smashed into Northern Ireland with blasts of wind up to 80 miles an hour. At one point, 53,000 homes were without electricity. After darkness passed, people saw the frightening scale and severity of the damage.
Well, sights like this are very common in Northern Ireland today. The emergency services have received almost 1,000 reports of trees coming down. And you really get the idea of just how dangerous conditions were for a time last night.
There were tragic consequences in County Londonderry. It's understood one person has died after this incident in Limavady.
People are just very shocked. As elected reps, we're obviously putting up posts on Facebook to ensure people stay safe and let them know where there's been trees down and other incidents. And to wake up and realise that the result of a tree coming down has someone losing their life is just devastating.
Across the Irish Sea, the Isle of Man felt the force of ferocious gusts. Further east, in Cumbria, the authorities put in place almost a dozen flood warnings, including here in the town of Kendal. Some motorists in Wales also had to navigate waters on the roads. In Lincolnshire, a driver narrowly avoided being hit by roofing torn off by the storm in Belton. And around the UK, many thousands of families are clearing up collapsed fences and sweeping up what used to be garden furniture. The transport network is moving again, but scores of flights were cancelled or diverted, with passengers ending up a long way from where they were supposed to be.
So it is 1:19 in the morning. We were supposed to land at Gatwick at what time?
9:20.
9:20 p.m. We were diverted to Charles de Gaulle because of the weather, and it is completely deserted here. We haven't got our luggage yet, so I don't know what we're going to do.
In Glasgow Central Station this morning, rail travellers still weren't sure when they would get going.
Well, I did have a flight booked. The flight was cancelled, so then booked this. This is now delayed as well, so who knows when we'll get there.
We've travelled from here, so to get a bus this morning, that was delayed, and then this is delayed. Hopefully we'll get there.
We're looking at the board right now to see if we're going to get to London. It says delayed. It said that for about an hour now, so we're just waiting to see if we can get any updates.
It's a day of continuing disruption following the devastation of Storm Isha. Chris Page, BBC News.
Now let's get the latest from our Scotland correspondent, Alexandra Mackenzie, who's in Salisbury in North Lanarkshire, which was particularly badly hit, wasn't it, Alexandra?
Yes, that's right. Well, we sadly heard about the 84-year-old man who was a passenger in a car in Grangemouth when that car crashed into a tree. And yes, I'm here in Salisbury in North Lanarkshire. They had gusts of up to 84 miles per hour last night. The wind has died down a bit, but it's still very blustery, and as you can see, a tree behind me has fallen over. That's not the only tree that has fallen over here. So some damage here in this village in North Lanarkshire, and there's been disruption across the country. We heard about the trains there. There were no trains at all in Scotland from 7 o'clock last night, so a lot of people stranded, a lot of people not able to go home, and a lot of people not able to get to work this morning. Some of those trains have started up again today, just this lunchtime, but there has been a lot of damage to the train lines. Trees have fallen on the tracks, and also damage to overhead lines. So probably take some time before everything is back to normal. There's also been disruption on the roads because of trees falling over. Some schools have been closed. Thousands of people have also been without power, and there have been 33 flood warnings. Now there is another amber warning in place for the north of Scotland, and that will come into place around 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Okay, Alexandra, thank you very much indeed. And in the US, almost 90 people have died amid severe ice storms in several states. This footage is from Grand Haven